I'm Lucy and I'm the Head of Sales and Business Development for Usborne Community Partnerships. And today I'm going to talk to you about our 4 April focus books. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is this one. Who's the loudest on the farm? So this is a brand new series, which is a sound book, which ends with a pop-up. So let's have a look at it. So this is a fun rhyming story, which examines the different animals on the farm who are all competing to be the loudest. So you've got the pig first, then you've got the horse, then you've got the sheep, the cow, finally ending with the cockerel at the end doing a very noisy cock-a-doodle-doo. The book is £12.99, so the same price as your Don't Tickles and other sound books. And I think it's great in the fact that you have a bit more of a storyline to this one. So if you've got customers that love a Don't Tickle and are looking for something different, this has more of a plot to it. I think this will age up better than a Don't Tickle might, because there's more of a storyline to it. And I love the fact that the storyline rhymes as well. So I think this is going to be super popular at your baby and toddler groups, at your nursery events, and definitely one to share with your customers if they like the Don't Tickle books, because I think their child will love this too. You've got the sound chips, which are great for little hands to use and easy to make the sound books. And I think you've got kind of all the favourites on the farm here. It's cheeky, it's funny, there's sounds, and there's a pop-up surprise at the end. And I just think it's a really, really fun book to enjoy with young children. Next up, we have another title in this very first question and answer series, which is Why Do I Need to Wash? This series, the ones that are more about kind of like personal lifestyle, like teeth, the potty training one, these tend to sell better than the ones that are about more kind of abstract or weather-based items. So I think this is going to be a really good one for you guys. Again, it's great for supporting parents to have these conversations with their children who might be reluctant to have a bath or wash their hair, or indeed might be slightly frightened of things like the shower. Also great, I think, for educational settings like nurseries and kindergartens, to again go through these things with their young people. So these books all follow a very similar format. So they are flap books. The flaps are super sturdy. And the first page goes through why do you need to wash, which is great to go through with little ones. Looking at things like when your hands actually you think they look clean, but how germs can be hidden. This is a super helpful guide about when you should wash your hands, which is just kind of great life skills for young children to be learning. Looking at anxiety around water and drains. Looking at hair washing, which is definitely something that both my children have struggled with, and why you need to wash your hair. A lovely page on animals, which I think is always great for connecting children with something that they may be more interested with as well. So looking at why animals wash. And then some general fun facts as well. So, for example, I didn't realise that cats spend up to half the day cleaning themselves. So they really do enjoy being clean. So this is a great one for parents to explore with their children and for early years settings to use and have on their bookshelves too. Next, we have another one that I think, again, great for parents to explore with their children, or for schools and nurseries to have on their bookshelves to help children have these conversations. So this is from the first Q&A series, so a step up from the very first Q&A series. It is slightly older in its pitching, and through a group of animals, it explores all elements of friendship. So how can you make friends in the first place? Why might you need them? What to do if you have no one to play with? Looking at, is it easy to make friends? Looking at kind of anxieties around doing that. questions like, why won't tortoise play with us? What if I say the wrong thing? So kind of general anxieties and questions that children might have. Then looking at how do you join in, what to do when you're feeling shy, worries about being the odd one out. How can you be a good friend, which I think is super, super important. Looking at friendships in general, so will you always be friends, and obviously teaching children that it's okay, and sometimes friends do drift apart and that's just part of life and that's okay, but you can make a friendship last a lifetime. And finally, there's some nice friendship tips at the back. So this book, as with all the books in the Q&A series, the editor of them asks children, staff members about their own children to provide the questions that then make the format of the book. So these are all based on questions that children have asked and want and need to find the answer to. So I think this is a great one for parents to explore with their children, particularly if their children are worried about friendship or struggling with making friends, and a really important one, I think, for educational settings to have as a reference book to support their young people. And on completely the opposite scale of the spectrum, we have this, which is Under a Fire Red Sky. So this is the latest book from Geraldine McCaughrean, a multi-award winning author. And it is being released in time for the 80th anniversary of VE Day. So this is a book aimed at the older end of readers. It does feature death in there. I wouldn't say it's particularly gory or graphic, but it's set during the Blitz and it does feature characters dying, including some of the main characters in the book. And it does deal with issues around like parental neglect as well. So this is set during the Blitz, and the book starts off with 4 teenagers boarding a train to be evacuated to the countryside. They all decide they don't want this to happen, so they all jump off the train. And this begins the start of an unlikely friendship between these 4 characters. So you've got Jemmy, who is quite a neglected teen. Her mother is dead and her father is very neglectful and quite abusive towards her, very controlling, very money driven and drunk. She's never really experienced love and friendship and people prioritizing and caring for her. You've got Lawrence, who is incredibly intellectual, and the others all love his thirst for history and knowledge, and it's his dream to build a plane. You've got Olive, who is the daughter of a firefighter and a very troubled mother, again, kind of struggling to navigate and find her place in the world. And you've got Franklin, who wants to become a firefighter, but whose parents have no belief that he will do that. It's a book about friendship. It's a book about war. It's a book that's set in Blackheath in London. So if you are local to London or around that area, then I think that's a great talking point. And a lot of it is based on the experiences of Geraldine's father, who was a firefighter during the Blitz. And it deals with a lot of issues around the judgment that firefighters faced with this belief that they should have been off going to war. They shouldn't have been staying at home fighting fires, although arguably the fires they were fighting on the home front were incredibly dangerous for them and an incredibly important job. And there's other kind of things that are featured in there. So you've got a German whose plane crashes, and it deals with like what it means to be human, and kind of kindness and empathy around that. You've got this great character of a doctor who, again, is quite a pacifist, and his views on the war are really interesting. You've got issues with kind of Jemmy and her family and Olive and her family. It's quite deep. It's quite thought-provoking. It's it's quite disjointed to read, I would say. Um, but perhaps that's just a reflection of like what life was like for characters during the war and how difficult it was to make connections and make sense of the world around you. This book is being released as a class set, so schools will be able to get a set of 30 of these from you at a heavily discounted rate. This is going to be a really good class read for a secondary school, I would suggest. It is really hard hitting. There's no bad language. There's no sex in it. But yeah, there is death. It's a book about war and it doesn't shy away from the realities of war. It is very hard hitting. It would be a great one for your book clubs to discuss and explore the characters, and perfect for schools to explore with their students. The final thing to say about this is I think this is going to be great for your audiences, particularly if you've got an older customer base, because the amount of schools I went to at World Book Day where boys in particular said what they were looking for was fiction that was set during the war, and this is exactly that. So hopefully this is filling a real gap in the markets and will become a great book for you to have at your events. I hope you enjoy your April new titles and do let us know which ones your favourites are. Thanks, bye.